Yes.
And we're live. Hello and welcome.
Hey.
To another episode of Game Theory Gang.
We're live. Yeah.
I'm your host, Matty Allen, with ChrispyMan, FXFire.io, and Fast Abdul. Welcome.
Thanks. I think your video may be glitching there, Matty.
We're live, complete with glitchy internet here from the Adirondacks of New York, Northern New York, also known as upstate. We got election results tonight. We got crypto going up and down as always, and all kinds of good stuff. We might get Access live on. We might get a couple of political commentators to come on. I've seen Fast Abdul hacked into the election system and found a way to update us on his profile picture. That's pretty cool.
Shouldn't that all be purple?
Yeah. I'm loving it. And yeah, and we got some great people here in the chat. We got Benny Blanco. We got Day 43 OG. Welcome. Got Shell Fox. Geographics. Got Funk Master HEX. Richard Hart is the best founder in crypto. That's quite a screen name. And other screen names. It's a family-friendly show here, so you know, can't shout out everybody, but we got Pip Shinobi here and Lazy Hexagon. Vote or die, a quote from P. Diddy. That's not controversial, is it? How are you guys doing?
How you doing?
Crispy, how are you doing? How are you doing?
Right. I'm watching the market go up and down. Things looking pretty good overall for crypto. I don't know. A lot of people obviously waiting to see what's going to happen here with the election. Hey, listen, it's going to do what it's going to do, and all signs point to another year of movement until we get to some sort of a top. Maybe it's a year and a half. Maybe it's shorter, but nothing's really changed in a week.
All right, I've always wanted to ask somebody this. Does super cycle mean it goes super up or it goes super long?
I've heard both.
I suspect long. Though it means it's up for a longer period of time.
I think it'd be super if it was longer and it went higher. But
true.
Right? And then what happens when people say super cycle and then they add real in parentheses next to it? What does that mean?
I don't know. Isn't that like a kid thing, like for reals? I don't know.
Hard to say.
Well, the three arrows. No, the three arrows capital guys always say it, and I think they're rebranding. This is not my joke, but I think they're rebranding to 4 Arrows Capital or something like that. So
sounds like a joke.
No, it's.
Did you say 4 errors, like errors or arrows?
Right. That'd be even better. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. That's one of the hedge funds, crypto hedge funds that blew up last cycle. Kyle Davies and Suzu. Up to no good again with ox.fun for whoever is keeping track, but that's neither here nor there. But tonight's election night, do we know who's winning?
The president. I don't know.
That was good.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that answer.
Whoever the president is the one that's going to win. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's the chart.
Okay, and right now, what Fast Abdul is showing for people who are just listening audio wise, 52 electoral votes for Harris, 101 for Trump, 270 votes to win. We've got a number of states that are in the Eastern time zone mostly that are being reported in this, question mark, trust me, bro, type of thing. I don't know. Where this information coming from? Fast.
I am pulling this directly from Google.
Okay.
So it's the same information everywhere. I've checked like 10 different sites. Google just fits on my screen appropriately. So I think
they're not biased at all.
Yeah, I think it's the same data that every election website, every news website is putting out.
Okay, cool. And it must be the fact that people can still vote in like California and places like that.
I hope so.
Oh yeah, no, it always looks. It's just time zones, right? So like East goes first because it's later in the East, so the polls are closing. They're in theory they call the states when enough votes are counted to the point where they can predict who the winner is. Though this is not 100% for sure. I'm sure there's some assumption there. If there was any sort of any sort of glitch in the system, this is far from official.
Nice.
Should be a good indicator.
I seem to remember it happening that way in the past as well.
Yeah, and I think it usually looks something like this too, where there's more red at the start and more blue at the end. So I think it'll be tighter than it looks right now, just based on past elections, not my personal thoughts. Because there's more, like California is a blue state and so on, and has a bunch of 52 votes or something. So it's gonna get tighter. It's gonna be exciting. We'll keep you updated.
Well, thank you. Thank you for keeping me updated.
No problem. I'm here for the tech.
I'm here for the votes. I did go vote today, but I was going to write in on the ballot, but I decided not to.
I voted 4 times today. You only voted once?
Yeah. Well, I'm old-fashioned that way.
Good policy. Vote early and vote often, people.
That's right. Vote early.
I was just going to say that.
I feel like that's from somewhere. It sticks in my head, but I don't think it's a Fast Abdul original.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've been saying that in Illinois for decades. Unfortunately, Illinois is the one that sticks out like a sore thumb as like being so corrupt. It's never going to be a swing state or anything other than a blue nightmare. But there you go.
It's looking very blue right now.
It's because of corruption in Chicago, but that's neither here nor there. So currently, actually, I'm in New York. I came out here for the Trump rally, as I told you guys last week. And then I ended up staying out here for the SEC case. That's something that we'll be able to touch on tonight for our viewers that only watch once a week. And then
that's what they do. Once you get in, you can't get back out.
That's right. Yeah. And then here I am. I decided to stick around even more because I've been hanging out with a group of politically active people called the MAGA Boys with a Z, and that's who got me on the floor seats of Madison Square Garden, where I almost onboarded Elon Musk. I had my arms outstretched to hand him a PulseChain coin.
That was an epic
right?
fail.
I need to find the video. I told somebody to like video me doing it because I thought I was going to succeed. Wanted to capture the moment so people would believe me. Like
you almost did it.
Proof.
Almost.
So why did you not onboard Elon Musk? How did you fail?
Well, the first time he walked past me, so I there was one row of people and then me, and all the VIPs had to walk past this area I was in. And so the first time Trump was coming from the other side, so I'm like looking, over there, and then Elon had just spoken and he snuck past me. So like by the time I turned my head, he was already like far away. But then I knew I'd get him on the way back, right? And so the problem was that too many people were mobbing him that were in like the VIP section, like Vivek and JD Vance and all the Senate finance bros, those people. So yeah, but I mean, look, this is my second try. This is my second event this year where Elon was in person and I was in person. Last time I didn't even get, like within 1,000 feet of him, but I was in the same room. Okay. And then this time I got within about 10 feet of him, maybe 5, something like that. So next time, third time's the charm. I'll get him in. Just like I got Hawk Tua and Jordan Peterson into PulseChain. They have their Ethereum or PulseChain branded coins, and I put some crypto on there for them. So
sure,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
get one of those coins to Elon. That'd be awesome.
yeah. But then the other thing that I'm doing, because I believe so much in like freedom of speech and the truth, speaking truth to power and all that good kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm helping out the Maggot Boys with their video production. That's what I was doing yesterday. I came to upstate New York, where they're from. These are the guys that were standing next to President Trump when he got shot in the ear. Okay, that's how these guys got famous. Well, yeah, that's how they got famous, and why they're so well connected now in politics. And so, and they were the ones who were brave enough to go back to the next rally and stand behind him. Big deal. And so, and I mean, the guy who got killed for sitting behind Trump, they were in between him and Trump. And so it really was the fact that, that the bullet that missed could have been, could have killed them. So,
pretty scary.
yeah, I've just found it. Yeah, I've found it really inspiring to hear these guys and to help them tell their story. So I did some video production for them yesterday that'll actually be hand delivered to Trump on an iPad. And so I don't know. Maybe if they like my work and if they want to keep me around in the game, then maybe we'll get some PulseChain and HEX action going on at the highest levels. I know Elon's the richest person in the world, but I would probably say Trump after tonight is going to be the most powerful man in the world. So if I can get those two into HEX and PulseChain, that'd be mission accomplished for Sami's prophecy at least. But gotta dream big, I guess. So might have one or two of those guys on later tonight to provide political commentary, because I don't know anyone else who would know better, what's happening. And yeah, but other than that, I mean, we can talk about the rest of crypto as the election results come in. It looks like, what did Kamala just get some more votes there? Some more electoral. Was that number 71 before?
Yeah, no, the ratio's going more blue as the night goes on here. And I think we'll see that continue just based off the previous polls. But then it'll be the real race will be in the last hour or two. There's the key states, right, where it really matters. The battleground states.
Yeah, you've got battleground states in Pennsylvania, Michigan,
Nevada,
and New Mexico.
I think North Carolina. Let me double check. In the past, I think they've mentioned Florida. Right, there we go. Okay, Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Nevada. Those are the ones that aren't predestined for a certain color according to the polls. So anything could happen, folks. No one really knows. Anything could happen, folks. No one really knows.
That's right. I'm ready for the volatility in the electoral votes. We're going to see him go up. We're going to see him go down. We're going to go sideways.
There's a lot of money on this too, right? Like these, we're looking at the election polls or whatever, but there's the crypto and sports betting markets. There's huge money on this kind of stuff. And I was looking at that earlier today, and they are all geared towards Trump. They're sort of like, on average, like 60-40 Trump to win is what people are betting. So people put money tending towards Trump at a 60-40 ratio on, like a dozen different betting markets in crypto, outside of crypto. So I think that's the popular opinion in that regards.
Yep, it is. Well, hey, listen, it's good for there to be diversity. We need diversity, and we need people to, support the candidates they like. So it's good. But yeah, those things tend to. Most people I know, they've all been leaning heavy Trump for a long time. Not everybody, but a good amount.
Oh, the crypto bros are really pushing Trump. You hear, like, when you look at Twitter, all you see is Trump. So, clearly amongst men, and particularly men in crypto, Trump seems to be the power of choice.
So it seems like. Yeah, that's what it seems like. He's going to pump our bags. That's what it's all about. Pump our
I think
bags.
it's partly true, though. I don't think, if the Democrats get in, I don't think they're going to, destroy our bags, right? Like, yeah, there might be a sad moment somewhere, but, I suspect it's, probably a net neutral if they get in, because they're already in, right? Like, it's kind of like nothing changes. But if Trump gets in, I think it could pump our bags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did a poll not too long ago on my Twitter. I think there were 300 people voting, maybe more. It was 92% in favor of Trump. I didn't realize that this audience was that skewed.
Yeah, that's super skewed. I think it's to the point where if you weren't in favor of Trump, you, like, obviously, like, an anonymous poll is one thing, but like, I don't think in crypto bro world, like, anybody would step forward and say they weren't in favor of Trump.
I know.
You'd have to have balls of steel to do that, or be completely unaware of your surroundings.
It becomes a chilling effect for sure.
Yeah.
Because of that, but I don't, me personally, I don't feel that way against people that vote differently than I do. So I mean, hopefully more people will. Will act that way. But yeah, there's definitely with that. But our it's your viewpoints can change over time. My viewpoints have changed over time. I was a very, very strong Democrat when I was younger. Why? I grew up in East Coast, right? And everybody was Democrat, right? I mean, yeah, for the most part, it was pretty heavy. But I've had lots of experiences in my life that have exposed me to different things, right? So I went in the military, and at the time, Democrats weren't really supportive of the military, and then so I was in the military. I was like, well, this sucks. I guess I'm a Republican, And then when I got out of the military and I started doing blue collar work, working by the hour, working alongside the trade crafts, craftsmen, and doing all that stuff, I was like, man, these Republicans suck. These Democrats, because it's all a matter of view, right? But back then, it's not too long ago. Those things were all kind of like tight together still. Like, it wasn't like extremism all over the place with this stuff. And I'm not even sure there is extremism now, except we hear about it. And of course, I was involved with family services type stuff, and I certainly know an awful lot of Republicans that care an awful lot about people. But from a policy perspective, Democrats tend to support, more things that support people financially, right? There's pros and cons to all that, right? But I mean, anyways, I've gone back and forth. Then I went into business, and then I was a businessman, entrepreneur. I was like, these Democrats suck because it goes back and forth, because you I perceived, which party was causing me the trouble the most, and so I just kind of concluded eventually I was more like, I certainly lean pretty heavily in one direction, but I'm more like an independent than anything else. Not that anybody cares what my viewpoint is on this, but I mean, I ultimately, when I go to vote, I'm looking at, so what is going on right now? How do I feel about this? So,
Kind of sounds like you've voted with your bags over the years, Crispy, wherever they might lie.
yeah, you vote with your feet. Benny knows what I'm talking about. I mean, it's I mean, and it's not that. So if you said to me, "What are you?" I'm like a Republican, you know, because I can see positives on all of it, and usually, not always, usually when there's a few parties involved, they're pretty close together. I mean, there's obviously, we all know. I'm not going to push the buttons and talk about specific things because we all know the things that get everybody all aggravated and broken apart. Well, anyways, going all the way back to your point, fast. Yeah, I'm in crypto, right? Well, who the hell do you think I'm going to be feeling stronger towards? The ones that say I should be going to jail because I'm in crypto, or the ones that are saying, "Hey, crypto's a good thing. We ought to take advantage of it." Right? What do you think?
Yeah, I tend towards the ones that will support you financially and keep you out of jail. That seems like a strong argument. The concept of freedom,
Yeah,
personal freedom.
I was being facetious, fast, but some of the people have said things like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm with you. The
Um,
personal freedoms thing is part of the Republican argument that I find interesting. Like personally, I think I tend towards more of the sports side of things. As a Canadian, both American parties are actually in the right spectrum compared to all Canadian parties. So
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
I could see that.
my
Yeah.
vote versus
Yikes.
your vote is very different. But the the personal freedoms thing is a compelling argument, and obviously the Republicans are a little stronger in that department.
Yeah, I mean, this show has been historically like, balanced and not political and everything. But yeah, at some point when the SEC is knocking down our doors, metaphorically, uh, it comes to one issue. um, but yeah, I appreciate everybody keeping their cool and all that
Yeah,
good
if
kind of
you're a
stuff. But
single
yeah,
issue
yeah,
voter, you could like as a crypto holder, if you're a single issue voter, the choice seems fairly obvious.
Yeah, I'm hoping that whatever the outcome comes from this, right, we do get more attention on crypto, more clarification. Um, I think that's necessary, right? But hey, you know what? We're in the middle of it now. A lot of people that are listening. And Maddie, you keep fading in and out and disappearing with your connection. Um, for a lot of people maybe who weren't around, you know what, dudes and lady dudes and other dudes, uh, you know, 10 years ago, nobody was talking about crypto what they're talking about it now. I mean, I just saw this advertisement telling everybody, contact Grayscale, right? Which they've been doing that for a long time, but, just like boomer like level advertisement for, yeah, I don't know if you guys seen it, the one where they have all the people with the little pointy hats, little tiny hats and helmets and all this. And they're like, if you don't understand crypto because this is how you feel, contact Grayscale. It doesn't matter which company it is, but anyways, it's becoming more adopted, more mainstream. Like it's not like a question anymore.
Oh, totally. Like my father-in-law bought a Bitcoin ETF in Canada. Actually, before it was even available in the States, we had ETFs
Mhm.
for Ethereum and for Bitcoin. And yeah, like he's well into his 70s, and and he was interested in that because of all the news, mostly American news, that was talking about Bitcoin. So this stuff is way more mainstream. It's starting to be part of pension funds and things like that.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
it's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm still rooting for one of the 3-letter agencies actually created it, and they own all the Satoshi Bitcoin, and they make it the national reserve for the U.S. That's what I'm rooting for. Right after Flat Earther and
the dollars.
yeah, and Firmament. Between
the dollars.
Flat Earth.
The purchasing power of the dollar is going to 10x, right? In that case.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
I switched my connection. This seems way better. I can actually hear you guys now.
Dude.
Way better.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're prettier too.
Yeah, you don't look like Maddie from the past anymore. So.
Yeah. Well, the DeLorean comes in handy again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's. I mean, some people are saying that they're on the edge of their seat tonight. Personally, I think the assassination attempt and the public shaming of people for supporting Trump is likely to create a landslide. But hey, who am I to comment? I just that's my perception and everything. I guess we'll see how it all shakes out. I guess the psychology though of voting is it's better for both sides if they pretend that it's going to be close, because then they get all their voters out instead of the voters staying on the couch watching football or whatever. So yeah, I think the idea that it's going to be close is the way to get maximum participation, and that's what it should be.
Yeah, that's real, man. Right? Because people watch and they're like, I don't need to vote, so they don't go. It's part of the information management war. The information war that comes out against you. Disinformation. Right? What's the best way to win? Nobody votes against you.
That's right. So I mean, maybe we switch the conversation now to what transpired with the SEC and HEX in the past week, and then maybe we can come back to the political stuff as the night progresses. How does that sound?
Cool.
You do you, Maddie. Go.
I'll continue to update when there's news, but only then.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Well, I went out there to the court date. I actually almost missed it. I almost missed my flight, but I rescheduled it the last minute, and I'm so glad that I made it there, because this was so historic. This was so crazy. I'm already the kind of person who likes watching the show Suits. And you guys may have also noticed, I really like understanding the nuances of court, because, I involve myself in things like South Carolina HEX, class action lawsuit, stuff like that. So I'm just I'm a court geek, you might say.
Yes, Suits prepared me for understanding the court system too.
Did it?
Nod to all those lawyers out there. You guys didn't even have to go to school. Just watch Markle.
Well, my roommates in college were in grad school were studying law, and they both learned by talking out loud. So I got half of a law degree just listening to them go back and forth. But yeah, it's fascinating, and so I went out there and just really, really, really enjoyed. I think it was an hour and a half or 2 hours of oral arguments. RH's team did a fantastic job. The community has already covered this in great detail of what happened. But yeah, I would point out that it was really a historic moment for HEX and PulseChain and all of crypto. The judge pretty much started off with asking if we're ready to throw out the alter ego hypothesis, which was the one that was trying to say that the SEC can sue blockchain code, not the people behind the code, not an organization that doesn't exist, but the code itself,
The code itself,
a
and nothing
novel
else.
legal theory that the SEC was proposing
It was
that
groundbreaking.
could have ruined not only all of crypto, but could have ruined all of tech as well. Like,
For all time.
what? The expansion of power far beyond, like, you know, what our
I've got a couple routers.
our bro back in 1933 decided.
Yeah.
Like,
I was just gonna say, I got a couple routers. I'd like to sue Madam. Keep sending me the wrong stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But you can't do that. And so thankfully the judge was clued in. And that's one of the main takeaways is the judge was so knowledgeable about crypto. I was really impressed. by the questions that the judge was asking. Oh yeah. It feels really good to go into a federal courtroom and realize that the country was designed this way for a reason, that the SEC has to answer to somebody, and if they aren't telling the truth, or if they aren't respecting the rule of law and everything, that there's some backstop there. There are adults in the room, so to speak. And RH's team was very impressive. I was surprised that they knew who I was and who Nuclear Herbs was, but that being said, the HEX conference was brought up like an infinite number of times. I had no idea that was going to be like a main sticking point for both sides, and so that was fascinating. But they're like, do you guys have any questions or any takeaways, like being not as kind of like not as close to it as I was?
Well, I've listened to you a couple of times.
What was the feel of the the audience, just the courtroom in general, right? Like, was it positive, negative? Were people stressed? What was the deal?
The audience was like very tight knit. We had like not sat on each other's laps, but we had really crammed in to fit as many people as we could. It was very respectful. There was like an extreme era of respect. But I would say that most people who were in the audience were not following the nuances of the law, because part of it was the question was over jurisdiction, and there's like a prong of jurisdiction that goes into fraud, but it's not fraud about whether you can make a case for fraud. It's only the case for fraud that relates to jurisdiction. And so that, I imagine, was very confusing for people. But if you could read the room, RH's lawyers were looking at each other, writing things down. One of them winked at me at one point, because they were keeping score the whole time because it was a back and forth argument type of thing. It was really cool. And so on one hand, like, the SEC is like getting called out by the judge, like, well, I think you do have to say whether the alter ego thing is done or not, like, either make a good argument now or it's done. You can't bring it up later. And they're like, well, we want to bring it up later, in the court hearings. And the judge is like, well, I don't think that's actually how it works, type of thing. So there was like that, like, extreme of like the SEC overreach going that extreme. And then to the other side of the extremes, RH's team tried to make a case that Howie doesn't even apply to HEX because it's a finished product. Howie doesn't even apply to the sacrifice because you sent your funds on a immutable ledger. There's transaction finality. So how can you have a contract? How can you have expectations if you hit the send button and there's no way to, and there's no contract, right? or if Hex was launched as finished software and there's no middleman involved. And the judge seemed to get that. Now, whether the totality of the arguments will suffice to dismiss everything, or here's another top 3 takeaway, that we might see a dismissal based on jurisdiction for Hex only, and the case continuing for PulseChain and PulseX, or they might all get thrown out, or they might all continue.
I could see the. Go ahead.
A wild SJ appeared, and she was one of the people organizing this, creating a seminar with RG3 and others afterwards. And I went to that. That event was amazing. And I just want to thank everybody who was there. Everybody who was there. There were people from Australia there that watched the show regularly. People from all over the world came to New York to support Hex and Richard Hart. Go ahead, Fast.
I was just going to say that in terms of the possible things that could happen, if Hex got thrown out, but Pulse and PulseX, etc., got left into the case, in some ways that could be a best case scenario. It's not what I want to happen, obviously, but it would be a victory for Hex. Hex would be proven to be decentralized and not a security, in a way. But then it would give Richard 2 more chances for public victories, right? And I believe we'd certainly see a pump every time that happened. So it'd be like, SEC had to drop Hex. They're like, next SEC drops Pulse, and then next SEC drops PulseX, right? Like it's a whole year in the news cycle potentially. Now, personally, I think it'd be handy if they just if everything got thrown out, obviously, but that could happen. I don't think it would be all bad.
Yeah, that's great commentary. It occurs to me that the game theory of Hart's law would suggest that if Hex is dismissed and people wanted to buy it up to the high heavens and create the greatest green candles of all, that might pull up the other tickers past their sacrifice points. So how interesting would that be? I mean, another thing that the judge, the judge was saying, like, wait, you only had 10 people affected by this? That was kind of cool. And then she was asking the SEC, like, where does the blockchain live? Dude, that was a banger.
On my router.
That was a banger. She's like, where does it live? Right? Because that's a question of jurisdiction. And there was a pretty weak argument for it lives like only in the United States, where Richard Hart has targeted things at,
and only on Uniswap, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me, I asked Nuclear Herbs like why they didn't bring up Uniswap, and he had like a really, really good answer, but I forget it. So I'm gonna go through my notes here real quick.
I noticed today Nuclear Herbs tweeted that you can download the transcript for the trial.
Oh, nice.
So the transcript is now available.
I see the parody cartoons coming.
I think so, yeah. People will be able to feed that into like ChatGPT and stuff like that, right? Like, obviously, the average person, myself included, is not going to be able to make any sense of that. But yeah, put it into ChatGPT, see what you get. Write some letters to the government based on your results, that kind of thing. That'd be cool.
That's a great point. Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing that with me. I think so. Okay, here was the answer, because I had made a big to-do about how hypocritical Uniswap is, and how this highlights like the SEC's incompetence is the fact that they were trying to prove jurisdiction through Uniswap, which gatekept Hex, took us off the front end, proved themselves to not be decentralized, even though they advertise that they are.
They're 100% not. They are not. You know, they're still
100%.
the number one place for traffic on Ethereum, right?
Okay.
I think. Now I don't mean for Hex. I just mean in general. Like
Right.
DeFi lives on Uniswap among other places. But.
Right. Real DeFi and fake DeFi lives on the middleman platform that pretends.
Yeah,
to
it's
be
hard
DeFi.
to tell the difference between the fake ones and the real ones. But yeah, you have to know. You got to be in the know.
So the brilliant thing that Nuclear Herbs pointed out was that Uniswap developers living in northern New York set the venue. So jurisdiction is a little bit related to venue, right? But then once the venue is decided, which is like which judge do you have in which district, and if both sides like that, then you don't have to bring up Uniswap anymore. So that's a good explanation for why at the jurisdiction hearing they weren't bringing up Uniswap, is because that was only an issue that created the venue for the court. I told you I'm a legal nerd. I told you that is so exciting to me. Whatever. Whatever. Okay. So Uniswap, you're off the hook for now, but not really. You're still on the hook for lying, and I mean that's fraud. Let's talk about fraud and false advertising and all that is like Uniswap. But in the end, I think all cryptos we need to work together instead of working against each other. So whatever, they get a pass for now.
Yeah, not that they deserve it, but they may become more on our side as the SEC sues them more for stuff, even though they were the ones who squealed about various tokens and pulled HEX from being able to get liquidity provided for on Uniswap. And then they end up being the focus of the SEC in the future. So let's see how that works out for them. I think we all may be on the same team in the future by default, right? If we're all targeted by the same government structure, then why would you throw each other under the bus?
Do you guys want to see my first attempt at like creating a meme?
Please.
I'd love to see that.
Okay.
Later, I'd like to talk about HEX too.
Like to talk about
HEX, this
about
new
what?
token. HEX, HEX.
Okay. I've heard of that one.
It's a thing. What's the ticker?
It was just released. HEX. HEX.
Okay.
Just released 5 years ago. I think we're gonna try to do Quattro Cinco on December 5th. If you heard that. Right. The official anniversary, Maddie, is what day?
Oh, nice.
December 2nd.
Do you go with December 2nd?
Or the 3rd? What?
I don't know. I'm asking you. What's the official date?
Oh. I don't.
Close enough. We'll call it the 2nd. All right.
I've done anniversary streams before, but I don't remember which. I think I just I was like 24 hours. Like let's just.
I always think of the 5th because of price and all that stuff. But anyways, it doesn't matter. For the 5th anniversary, we're thinking everybody do Quattro Cinco for 5,555 HEX just for fun.
I did that when I drove the DeLorean to the first tour stop of the HEX tour.
You were texting and driving, yeah. I remember.
I pulled over one of the guy who invented the term crypto Sparbuck, who's not public facing, was in the car with me in the DeLorean. I just bought it. I just picked it up from the dealership, and I'm driving it, and it hit the mileage hits 5,555 miles, 0.5. And I pull over on the side of the interstate. This is back when a HEX was like a quarter per HEX, like 25 cents. And I took 5,555 HEX and I launched out 5,555 days. So, if you guys are doing that on the anniversary, I'm going to do that too.
We want you to help us. We want you to join in. It's kind of like a community thing, right?
It'd be, I would love to join.
Driven people already on X talking about it. We all want to do it. Well, not all of us. I want to do it. So I think it'd be fun. At least a way to show commitment to it. To HEX in the long term.
Yeah.
It's not a huge not a huge lift for 5,555.
Yeah, not as bad as it was, but what?
I mean,
back
what's the
then.
price? What's the price? 1.4 right now.
Yeah,
So we're talking something like that, right? So even if it's a penny and a half, and we do Quattro Cinco of them, that's an $83. Okay, so it could be a lot for some people. So you don't have to do that much. Pick a nice another number below that if you can't do Quattro Cinco. Quattro Cinco would be the target though. So if you're somebody who just wants to get involved, consider 555.5. There you go. $8
yeah,
stake.
that's great.
Yeah. I think longer term there's that. But
I'm excited about that. That's coming up in just under a month.
yeah, it's just a month. That's why I brought it up, talking about it.
Yeah,
It'd be nice to see it because we definitely are still seeing a fade on the whole staking thing. And man, some people have been bringing up some questions, and I've been asking and digging into it. I just can't tell you how bullish I am for Quattro Cinco stakes and the amount of hex they'll get. It's just insane.
dude.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll reveal some more information about that. But
I mean, some people might want to buy their 5.555K of hex now.
So you have it.
Because you never know if the price is going to be like $10 a month.
Yeah,
you never know. You don't know.
We're talking about an $80 stake now, right? And then like in a month it's $800. Everybody's like, "Well, I'm not doing that,"
Oops. Oops.
Yeah.
Right. And look, we've got a political commentator here that can join us before I go over my memes that I'm not particularly qualified to have made. But yeah, here we go. Cryptopher Pratt, what's going on?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing good, man.
Fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, you guys watching this? I see it behind you over there.
Whoa,
you
you
guys
just
feeling?
shot up.
Oh yeah, I'm old
That's
school,
amazing.
So I'm back in 1800, so I'm not on the right.
Is that an old electoral map?
Yeah, I've got
Wait a
the
second.
Jefferson. I've got the 1800. Jefferson Adams.
Oh, I was wondering why you were doing it wrong, but it's because you're old.
Because I'm old.
Crispy messed that up.
Hey, I'm no historian. I don't have the right information, but I'm pretty sure there wasn't quote unquote a Republican and Democrat party then. So I think I don't think that came for another couple decades. So it was just green and blue, man.
So,
yeah.
No, I was gonna say I just got a text that Bitcoin's about to just take off right now. It's looking like it's gonna spring with the election.
Oh wow, up 5% or 6% at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think everything that the markets are moving. The markets are moving. I think they feel a positive outcome here.
Absolutely.
Might see our next all-time high today. Like I think like 74K. I think would be a new all-time high for Bitcoin, right thereabouts. So we're not far.
Well, yeah, it looks like it's hitting resistance, right? It's going to test resistance, maybe. I think you're right about that.
Well, we're at 72K, 72,422 to be exact. And it's jumping around. It's jumping all around at the moment. And yeah, so Sean, you're a member of the MAGA Boys with a Z.
ZZ.
One of the most inspiring groups I've ever come across in politics. And
we appreciate that, Matt. We appreciate that.
I'm excited to have you on the show tonight, and I hope
absolutely. I wish I could figure out how to do my avatar.
Oh, you're good.
I'll make sure I'll fix it. I'll fix it for the next one. I'm like trying to play with it, find pictures,
and maybe we could do a special episode here once Trump wins here.
Absolutely.
That'd be really great. But I guess my introduction that I said earlier for the MAGA Boys, I met you guys out at the Ethereum conference in Utah, and I was just blown away by the fact that several of your members, your team of 5, were standing next to Trump when he got shot in the ear.
Yeah.
And
I was
that
one of them.
really
Yep.
really inspired you guys to go to the next level of bringing speaking truth to power and holding the media accountable for telling the truth, because they
Oh,
weren't.
North Carolina for DJT. Sorry, that just came through.
Oh wow, how exciting! And
Wow. Geez, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So
Yeah, we were privileged to have met you, and and what you bring in substance, and like you've been a big help. So I think it was very fortuitous us meeting in Utah.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And I think it's just so exciting, the fact that that this election may be decided because of the assassination attempt.
Yeah.
And I think Trump's not going to forget that. And you guys being central to the movement, and now, you're the one who gave up your seat to me in Madison Square Garden so I could help to capture some of the magic that was happening there.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm
Absolutely,
just so
though.
grateful. I'm just so grateful, man, that we met.
Absolutely, Maddie. That was something else, right? MSG. How was that feeling there, right? But it felt good to actually just see him there. Every time we go to a rally, it's like the same thing. Like, wow, we're actually still getting to see him kind of, you know, still be here, still be able to get his point to people. And every time you see it, it's kind of like, oh, you remember, right? But at the time, we kind of, it was something. It was something to experience. And yeah, I really don't know how to put it in words, but we at that point is when we decided that we were going to do what we're doing now. So
And there's this huge element of bravery to what you guys did, being at the next rally after somebody had been shot. They missed Trump, but it was somebody that was farther away from Trump than you were that got murdered and killed. And so with that, with your life having been already on the line, and you having survived an assassination attempt, where one of the people in the crowd next to you did not, and then you guys went to the next rally and stood directly behind Trump.
well,
There's an element of bravery there.
I appreciate that, Matt. But what there really was a lot of I guess defiance. Like, we're not going to let you put us down like that, because it's not just about him, it's about everyone. And they were trying to extinguish our entire movement, they thought, with one bullet. So I would say it was equally anger, just
Okay.
like, hey, you can't, like, you can't do this. We're here. We're gonna stand for this, so I guess just, yeah, we got so mad when that happened. Before that, it was just kind of like, yeah, things are messed up. And now it's like, what are we really up against when they're willing to kill this guy, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are we really up against? And that's when I think it really dawned on us. You're like, look, this is going to slip away from us. We need, like, even if we're just some small part, everybody needs to to put that in, or we're going to end up an unwritable ship.
I,
And
I was,
that's a bad day,
I, I was also impressed when I was with you guys in Utah. I was like filming some stuff, and you guys discovered that the bus had been keyed.
Yeah.
It wasn't anger that was the genuine reaction there. It wasn't you guys were going to have an eye for an eye. It was,
Yeah.
wow, that person who keyed the bus must have really been lost and upset.
Well,
If
they
that
really
was
hate. Well, something I realized throughout this whole thing is a lot of people really hate the number one expression that I like to say is, when you talk about, like, and I'm not talking about like all of the the people on the left, obviously, but the ones that really don't like us, they think we're evil. So they think we're evil people with bad ideas. So they're willing to kind of do anything. It's kind of here, whatever I can do to bring you down a little bit. And or we just think they're people with bad ideas, right? So there's a different feeling there. We're like, oh man, that like that's kind of how I like rationalize everything in my mind, is that if somebody really hates you like to the core, they're kind of willing to do anything. And if you see the kind of anger and hate that they spew towards Donald Trump, it definitely trickles down to the people that follow him, right?
Hmm.
So when there's that level of anger, it's really because they feel like you're evil. And like I feel like the biggest thing here, the biggest gap we have to cross is for people not to feel like other people are evil. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
we all just want what's best, but they think, he's Hitler, it's all evil. You guys are Hitler followers, right? Like that kind of rhetoric, it dehumanizes us and they hate us, right? So that's kind of where I guess where that kind of feeling comes from of it's not anger. We feel like they're just like blinded by rage or something, it's kind of like, you get mad and you see red and you just kind of can't see outside of it. And so I think there's a lot of that. And I think we got to kind of address that, I think that's a bridge that we have to extend.
The other thing I heard from you guys is that when you wear your rally gear, I guess it's called, these prolific costumes that scream America and MAGA and all these kinds of things, like you guys wear this gear in public, and they're kind of, unless you were wearing that gear, you wouldn't see all the head nods and the fist bumps and the whispers of support. And that kind of is proof that there's more support out there for Trump than people are willing to admit.
Oh
Can
yeah.
you comment on that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because the one thing is, if you kind of, I'm sorry if my TV is loud back here. I'm trying to follow. I just realized that. So yeah, if you look at if okay, sorry, I got a little distracted there. So say that again.
So just all the silent support, but when you
Oh
guys
yeah.
come out with your costumes, then
Okay, so yeah, I
it's
forgot where I was
realized.
going with it. So what we notice is that because wearing a red MAGA hat kind of makes you a target. Like I say a lot of times, like I won't wear it if I'm going somewhere that's going to serve me food. You know what I mean? Is I just don't feel like I can trust people to be on it, and to put that aside, right? But I don't feel like so it's a thing of where like you're not sure if you want to wear it, so you need other people to have kind of the courage to wear it, right? And then that helps other people bring their courage up, because otherwise you feel like, oh, is there really a lot of Trump supporters? If I wear my hat, is there going to be somebody around if I get attacked, that's going to stand up for me too? Or am I just swimming in a sea of liberals? You know what I mean? And so, yeah. um, so we've noticed that when you're out there and you're showing like, hey, like we look ridiculous kind of in a lot. Like it's great. Like I love the patriot, but we're just like, it's so much red and white and blue, right? So it's like we stand out and people see like, man, if these guys can walk around looking like that and not really be worried, right? Then maybe I can wear my MAGA hat. So I feel like you get fist bumps and they're like, yeah, they support, and then they get a little bit more likely to kind of say, yeah, you know what, I'm a supporter too. They're saying the colleges, the kids, the MAGA hats are coming out in force. Like the kids are, a couple started wearing it, then a couple more were like, yeah, I like that. I'm going to do that too. We're humans. We kind of follow each other when, into a good idea, but sometimes you need people that are just maybe a little less shy. And we love that. I'm actually shy. These guys brought that out in me. I started dressing just because, you know, I saw the benefit of it, but it was a little scary, you know, to be honest with you, because conservatives don't. You don't hear about conservatives. They try to make these examples up, and there's some extreme examples of maybe like far right people attacking, but there's equally as much or more from the left. But it's like it's kind of it's more mainstream with them. So like your average everyday person seems to be a lot more like hateful and nasty towards Trump supporters than you ever see Trump supporters being nasty to anyone else, right? And so you get a little bit of trepidation there, I think, a lot of people. But man, if we had even a little bit of effect in the amount of hats that we're seeing now and people supporting out there, it was it was worth it, right? So
Absolutely,
and
yeah,
those jackets, right? The jackets are insane. That we owe that to Jeremy. Magus Hooker, his last name's Hooker. So, yeah, so he brought those jackets, right? For us, right? And we were just like, man, these are the coolest jackets. Him and his wife ordered them. They put the patch on and everything. Took a long time, so he had to keep it quiet for like a month. It took him, I think, to get the jackets and get them sewn up and everything. And man, they're cool. I'm gonna have that
Wow.
forever.
Yeah, you guys have an
Yeah.
awesome team, and for everybody watching on screen, you're the one in the middle who's standing next to me here in this picture I've got.
Yeah, I got that cool scarf I
of us.
found that day.
Yeah.
That was great. Kept my neck warm.
and yeah, so this is it's been really exciting to roll with you guys and see how well connected you are. There was there have been a lot of really impressive people that I've met through you guys, and of course here in this photo to the far left is Nick, who I had the honor of interviewing yesterday. We got some of the most incredible content that I'm so excited to share with the team and everybody. And I heard some whispers that Trump that might get to see a clip of the video that we made brought to him on an iPad. That he might get to see that. So I'm really excited to see where all this goes.
Yeah, we're excited too. We think so we have some people in our network that really love Trump and really they believe in what we're doing here with the MAGA meme pack, right? So they think we can have a big effect on things moving forward to kind of decentralize politics and help kind of the world to have a bigger say in their own politics because things are immutable in the blockchain. You can disperse and hide, so they can't ever get everybody. And we kind of think that moving forward we need to make politics, world politics, kind of operate in that manner to keep things in balance, right? So we have all sorts of things planned. We want to get, we work in politics and do canvassing. So we had people on the ground up until the polls closed. And so we're doing the groundwork, but also we want to do it in the digital realm and use the blockchain to, so that if people that are influential and are kind of running things, they're not in it anymore. If the people can take control, and I think that's the ultimate power for the people.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the narratives that you guys have that are 100% genuine and I like to say really cutting edge is like, the memes are the cutting edge of politics, and they're an area that's been corrupted in crypto, just like politics has been corrupted. And there's room to innovate. There's room to speak truth to power, because that's what memes have always been in the world before crypto, were a way for people to speak truth to power and to cut through the noise and to get participation of everybody and to, so it's it's gonna be really fun to see.
You can get more of a a message across to people in 2 seconds with a meme than you can with books and news articles, and like it's faster, because it also kind of sticks with them with the humor, right? So if you find something funny, I think you're more likely to remember it, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so we're gonna, we're trying to build the largest meme army we possibly can, and we're gonna be essentially, compensating the best ones in contests, but major contests, things like that. We're gonna find innovative ways to get the political machine working the right way by the people, than having been hijacked by bigger powers, and that's what blockchain's about. Right. So we might not have all the answers at the moment, but we're going to work towards that. Right.
Yeah. 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 So that's really exciting. And, sorry, I forgot where I was going to go with that, but,
Sorry, you could tell me to stop.
oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah. Yeah. I think, I think I remember what it was. I was going to say, you guys are the first, FEC, Federal Election Commission approved a super PAC for memes,
Yep.
which is pretty exciting. And again, is speaking to how you guys, I hope, will be able to combine, memes and crypto, and bring, bring decentralization and things. I know
Yes.
that at one point you guys were planning on launching on Solana, and then you made the right choice to launch on Ethereum, which is cool because that's one that's compatible with PulseChain and other places that are well believed in these parts. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to learn more about Pulse and Hex. It's fairly new to me, but yeah, we definitely have to have those conversations, Matt.
Yeah. Well, I've got a meme here. I'm not going to quit my day job, whatever that is, but I've got a meme here about the recent SEC court case that I went to in New York City, where I was blown away. I mean, I knew it was going to be really cool, but Richard Hart's lawyers, they mopped the floor with the SEC. And the transcript just dropped tonight, and so that's even better. We made a bunch of content about it earlier this week. Richard's lawyers, they're the same ones that defended Elon Musk against the corrupt SEC when he was in it. False, when the corrupt SEC came after him. So, the people in Hex and PulseChain are feeling pretty good because they don't come after you if you're not doing something important. But let's see. I got a couple of memes here. Here's one. This is what the jealous girlfriend meme. With the the SEC is looking at the federal judge who's the boyfriend in this case, like, oh my God, why is he checking out this other girl that says Hex launched as a finished product? Well, that kind of summarizes a bunch of what the judge was thinking about how maybe this doesn't even make it past the jurisdiction phase because Hex had so many good arguments for why why it's not a security, or basically why the jurisdiction isn't met. So that's a good one. I got some strong traction. See, I posted a different version of this and nobody was liking it, so I deleted it. But this version, it summarized it better, and so got 255 likes on that one. Not too bad, not too bad. I always look like lately, and we have a lot of advanced people who watch the show, but lately I've picked up on the Twitter game to look at the amount of impressions, basically to look at likes as a ratio of impressions. And I found that the Hex SEC stuff has just been off the charts with KDP and Crypto Coffee and different YouTubers, Nuclear Herbs. When they're reporting on this, it's like 10% engagement, which is just off the charts. Normally you get 1% or 3% is a good tweet. But these numbers mean that of all the people that saw it, there was a huge amount of support where people took action. So that's just a nerd Twitter thing for people who are keeping track. But Yeah. And then let's see. I got another one down here. This one's a little bit more complicated, but I think people like this one too. So it's, who is this? This is like a wrestler guy. What is this meme called?
Oh, is that
I don't know.
Jim McMahon?
I'm
Or no,
not
who
an
is
expert, but
It's the WWF.
yeah. That's it. Okay.
It is McMahon.
Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Fast Abdul here is, he's our expert, and so it's like it gives like 4 different levels of him being like, hyper amused or whatever you want to call it, and these are 4 arguments that were made on jurisdiction, and the first one, he's just kind of looking a little bit surprised, like, oh, Richard Dunn lived in Finland, right? Because it's supposed to be the SEC is supposed to only deal with U.S. individuals, and then we had this is something I think the judge said is, or it kind of it's in my own words, kind of what was being said is the World Wide Web targeting U.S. investors in the room with us now? That's good. And then the judge said to the SEC, "Where does the blockchain live?" And that was my favorite quote of the whole thing. And then like the judge also questioning, like, irrevocably sending crypto ain't a contract. And that was Richard's lawyer's kind of like best argument for how it doesn't even apply in this case. But we'll see. We're going to find out in about 60 to 90 days what's up with that. I'm seeing, as we're speaking right now, a Bitcoin just breached $73,000. It's up 7.59%, and the crowd is going wild.
Whoa.
Crowd goes wild. So, Sean, give us a feeling for how decided the election is now.
Well,
is it still up in the air, or?
Hold on, let me look. I actually lost track of it because I was so engrossed in our conversation here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Respect.
having a good time here. So New York Times. So we're seeing one map is we're seeing a massive shift. It's like 1 to 3 points, kind of across the board, in rural counties, in a lot of well, not suburban counties, but the more rural counties there's 2 to 3% of a shift towards Trump, and I think that's from increased voter turnout, and also just shift in sentiment. There's not a lot of shift to the left, pretty much in anywhere that we can see on the New York Times map. That kind of a predictor. It's got all these arrows. It's pretty cool. But let's see, where is the? Give me a minute to get up that map, and I will update you guys.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that'd be great.
Here we go. All right. So it's looking like, so the New York Times right now is saying their electoral college estimate is Trump 287, which he needs 270, right? 270,
Whoa.
271. Yeah, so it's looking like a decided Trump victory across the board. It's not, nothing's in the bag, obviously, right?
Okay.
George is leaning Trump with 77% in. Michigan's a toss-up, it was Harris usually lead. Obviously it's a more of a left-leaning state, and I believe the last polls had her leading there. North Carolina, I think, did they call that for Trump? Somebody said they called it for Trump. I don't think they did yet, but it's looking pretty good, like heavy lean R. Virginia didn't. They said, we thought, oh, maybe we got a chance in Virginia, but it's like pretty decidedly to Kamala. PA is PA is going to be the one we're watching. Still, it's
Okay.
yeah, but it's looking pretty good. 287. I mean, that's they're panicking right now, right? Like definitely panicking. Yeah, big time. I mean, and all indications say that Nevada, Arizona are going to go Trump. Utah is always, it's a lock, pretty much. Idaho, Montana. But I heard some whispers, and I don't know, maybe this is probably like the rumors of New Jersey, and oh, New York could flip, right? Oregon, I heard, has had a massive shift to the right in their polls, and their early voter turnout. I think don't quote me on that, but I heard that Oregon might be in play, but I highly doubt it. But I did hear a whisper of that.
Wow.
Yeah,
And is
they're
there
watching
any?
Iowa. They're watching Iowa big time because of that kind of shock poll that came out the other day saying that Kamala was up in Iowa. Did you see that?
Oh no, I wasn't aware.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're really looking for that, right? But I mean I highly doubt it's like pegged in the likely R, but who knows. But it looks really good right now.
Are
And then
there any
also
whispers? Oh, go ahead.
I think we took over the Senate, or um we might have taken over, or we tied. I gotta give me a minute to find that, but there was some good news in the Senate I had heard. So
Cool.
yeah.
It's great to have somebody so well connected on to point us in the right direction here. Because you
Well, I'm
can't
no
trust the
analyst.
media.
I'm no
You can't.
analyst.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
just
better than the lying media these days.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can
Well,
tell
I
you
don't know.
that
I
much.
could accidentally be lying.
No,
So
no.
let's see. So it looks like we flipped one seat, and why am I not seeing the projection?
Which state are you looking at?
Just the Senate in general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they're saying if we get the guy in Ohio, is it Moreno? If we get Moreno in Ohio, then we'll have a one vote majority in the Senate. I believe that's what it is. As it stands before that, the Democrats had to win all their seats, like keep all their seats, and two of them I think were unlikely to go Democrat, so it's looking pretty good. But nothing's in stone yet. So
Oh, Tripod is saying that John Deaton lost to Warren. That's a shame.
oh
That's a
um
shame.
uh oh, Bernie Sanders is the senator of Vermont again. Go figure.
Oh, wow. That's what's up. He's once again asking for your support, right?
Yes. You remember the chair and the mittens? What was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then what's your sense of whether we're going to know tonight who won the presidency? Is there any chance that we'll know? Do you have like a feeling?
So one of the things that I think Jack Posobiec said is that if they get enough in Pennsylvania, if we got enough election day voting to eclipse the 400,000 deficit in mail-in ballots, then they could call Pennsylvania tonight.
Okay.
And so to give you an idea, though, in 2020, the Republicans were 1.1 million behind in mail-in and early vote, right? So I believe that's what it was. So now they had this 400,000 where they should have been at least 500 or 600,000. Again, don't quote me on this, but the Democrats underperformed in Pennsylvania in early voting. So if they can make that 400,000 votes up, then, and it should, I think, based on same day turnout, but we'll see. That's a possibility. I think if Georgia and North Carolina are called, I think that might be pretty. And then Arizona, Nevada, the Western, Utah got called for Trump. Wyoming did as well. But yeah, I think there's a slim possibility we know tonight. but I mean, I've been prepared that we're going to wait 2 weeks, just because there seems to be shenanigans every election. It's something, right? So, if you remember, I remember the Al Gore thing in Florida, Bush and Gore, was it, right?
The hanging
Yeah,
chads and the
yeah, it seems
pregnant
like
chads.
it seems like we've been in election drama
The
like
Chads.
perpetually for decades, right? So it's like I'm never prepared for the outcome that I want to be on the night that it's supposed to be. I just don't. And if it comes in, that's amazing, right? But
Yeah.
I we'll see. We'll see. I hope so. I hope so, because I don't like the stress. Because this is all I think about until it actually is decided. So
Yeah, usually I go super conservative. I'd be like, well, we'll just see what happens, but I think it'll be decided tonight. So,
you think so? You
yeah, I
think
do.
so? I hope so. I hope so. I feel like the momentum is definitely in the favor of that.
Yeah,
But
dude,
we'll see.
without even saying I'm a Trump supporter, just like in general, I think that if Trump gets elected, we'll see more action taken by the government than if he's not elected. And
I
that
agree with you. Yeah, I
that
agree
is
with
like
you.
that's like huge, right? Because and here's my rationale for that, why that's so positive for me, is that he will try to do things because we know what he did last time. He'll try to do what he wants to do, right? So he does things. And then the other party doesn't like him so much, they will try to do things too,
Yeah,
instead of nobody doing shit for 4 years, right?
yeah,
So I mean, so I get excited about that
yeah.
prospect.
Well, that's a good thing. We need that.
Yeah,
You know.
100%. Man. I
Yeah.
of
Doesn't
course.
that depend a lot on the House and the Senate
Let's.
as far as what he can actually do, or
Yeah,
whoever
it's not
gets
so much about what it's about action, some action being taken instead of everybody sitting on their hands.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because yeah, you got to think about it, right? I mean, I'm sure you've thought about it fast. I know you're way up there in Canadian, but over here, right? I mean, I don't know this for a fact. I'm just telling you my opinion. People are tied up with money, right? Money and power. And so, yeah, I mean, if you look at the East Coast and all the blue that's over there, right? Why? Well, the people in power and have the money already are there. And so who are they bringing up? They're going to bring up more people that are going to support what they do, right? And so there's little opportunity for diversity in that way. Like a lot of people, I think the whole thing's broken, but I really do welcome action. Things being done
Yeah.
to. And I'm not even saying
So,
the stuff that Trump wants to do is going to be all the right stuff.
yeah.
That's not the
No,
point.
it's just to have the debate and to have it all going. I mean, his first term, there was a lot of that, but he was stymied at every turn by some sort of, impeachment hearing or this or going to court for that. If they let him work and they work, I think we get a lot of benefit in our country moving forward, at least to a more common ground.
Yeah, 100%, man. I agree. I agree with that. And I think your assessment, I could have said it myself, about how people view things earlier about how it's polarized.
Yeah,
You know, I didn't serve in the military to prevent people from voting their conscience, right? That wasn't
same.
what I did,
Respect.
right? So if
Respect.
people want to do something different, that's okay. I'm good with that. But don't tell me I can't.
Yeah.
Breaking new all-time high for Bitcoin. New all-time high for Bitcoin. $73,835.88. We've broken out. We're up
all-time high for Trump.
8.7% on the
Yeah,
day. We've got Ethereum $2,600. What else? What else we got here? Got a
we're
HEX
not
and
in the.
PulseChain.
I don't think we're in the clear yet on Bitcoin, but yeah,
Ooh.
it needs to flip that now support, right?
Yo,
Or
Desi's up
just
11%. Hex is up
yeah,
10%. We got Pulse up 3.86. Pulse X 2.97% up.
yeah,
Not too bad. Not too bad.
yeah. It's going to be a slow burn. We got to see what's going to happen with it. I mean, in theory, everything's going to follow Bitcoin, Ethereum up, but we need to wait and
Old season.
see. We got to wait and see what people are going to do after after the hangover, once tomorrow comes, Right. Buying into the excitement's fun, man, but usually somebody takes profit on you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We got and we still got to get our up only for this 4-year cycle. So it's got to start sometime.
Yep. Tomorrow be good. Tonight.
Yeah. Let's do it. There was an Ethereum show or a Bitcoin show, some big YouTube thing with Crypto Colby, a show called Up Only. I always thought it was a clever name. Didn't work out so much in the bear market though. Hey, we got Brisology in the chat. What's up?
You gotta zoom out, Maddie. Zoom out. It's only been up only for Bitcoin, man.
Oh, well, hey, if you only look at 4 years, like everybody who's ever held Bitcoin for 4 years has been in profit. That's a fact. There was no time ever in the 16-year history of Bitcoin that you could have bought Bitcoin, held it for 4 years, and not been in profit. I guess unless you were hacked or you did one of those things where you send them one and they send you two, but then they never send you the two. That's common.
Yeah, I know. Of course, I'm all about HEX, and so I think we're going to see the same thing with HEX, right? I think that we're in between right now, and so we're going to get the pushback. But I think 4 years, 8 years from now, you'd be saying the same thing.
See, when I went on Adam Stokes' show and I said, HEX, if it doesn't reach a new all-time high this cycle, then I will admit I was wrong about HEX. And I made that call when it was not looking good. Okay. You think it doesn't look good now. Well, we've come a long way since then. So yeah, I'd be thrilled to be correct on that. But we're going to see how alt season treats everybody. That would be nice to get some vindication around here, because never has a coin gone down so much. Even a Bitcoin and Ethereum, they, of course, you guys know they've gone down 90%, 95%, but never has a crypto gone down as much as HEX has here, and still had such a strong community. So,
and plus you have to qualify it. You have to qualify it too, don't you? Just like we conflate a bunch of things, we also conveniently leave out stuff. We did not only split it into 2 tokens, but created 3 more. And that is that's an unprecedented event that I don't think you can dial in, and I think that kind of breaks the model of a single asset's going to go up over time in the 4-year deal, and that's why we're going to need more time. But hey, listen, we're 5 years in. We're coming up on 5 years. that's crazy. We're nearly at 50% mark for a lot of those early guys. So that went into the staking. So it's a pretty big deal. And when you guys finally get a chance to talk, you and the Mega Boys, I'm hoping you're talking about HEX and explaining just how just how innovative it really is.
Well, probably first, the conversation is going to be about PulseChain, because they have a token that they launched on Ethereum, which is way better than launching a token on Solana.
Oh, yeah. Was that before the fork, right? Or
and see, this was after the fork, but see, just like with Maddie token, is somebody who has tokens on one chain, can bridge them to the other chain and start 100%. Rewarding people, sending money this way and that way. There's really a lot that can be done with programmable money these days, especially if you want to tap into a community, if you want to tap into people who like memes, if you want low transaction fees, if you want, just to get the word out that you're multi-chain, that type of thing. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about how PulseChain could become way more popular than it is now. We're already what Fast Abdul, the stats. Where's PulseChain compared to every other chain in the world right now?
PulseChain, Yeah, let me pull up the most recent stats. But the general consensus is that in terms of like token count and the number of pools, we're like insanely high. We're like number 5, which is pretty awesome. Then in terms of like total liquidity on chain, we're not as high. Like confirmed, yeah, number 5 for token count and number of liquidity pools, and then we're number 9 for total locked assets, according to
Okay.
Gecko Terminal by CoinGecko. So that's pretty good. Like we're talking, yeah, $312 million, and we're only 15% away from flipping Polygon and Tron with
Hell
that
yeah.
number. So like that's huge. Like then we'd be number 7, right? With just 15% more total value locked on the chain. So like, could we get to number 3 this cycle? I don't think it's that crazy.
No,
Especially when you look at the top one is Solana, right? Like, are they, they're gonna drop. The memes on there are not gonna hold the value. There's a lot of hard assets on the Pulse chain, a lot of stable coins, a lot of bridged Ethereum in particular, but also Bitcoin on the Pulse chain. You can buy both of those here. And I think we're going to see more bridged assets because we're starting to see farming opportunities on the Pulse chain for these bridged assets, including stable coins. So once that really takes hold, I think we'll see people bridging from Ethereum when it's $50 a transaction to Pulse chain where it's like 10 cents or less a transaction to farm their stable coins and other things on the Pulse chain.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I don't want to give away too much alpha, but that stable pool, oh my God. Anybody who's fading that, if you got even a little bit of stable, you ought to go put it in that damn stable pool. Just put it in there. I'm talking about the one in PulseX, the one that's paying almost 10.5% now, because when the volume's up, watch out, baby.
Not bad.
Now eventually they'll settle in. I know you guys have some options over on PHEX. I mean, I know there's options over on 9edge. People that do other stuff, but that is probably the simplest, easiest one, well balanced. Just go deposit any of the 3, and boom, you're in, and that thing's earning over 10%. And I don't know if it'll always be over 10%, Penny, but what happens when volume doubles? How about that? What's the percentage going to be? Simple math is 20%.
Yeah.
Actually, it doesn't work like that though. It's when the volume doubles.
Not exactly. I know, good.
So, but to get back to the comment of like, friends I'm making in the crypto world, and where, which friends do I introduce to which things? It's like, well, with PulseChain, it doesn't cost you anything to bridge some of your tokens over and start, putting them for sale or promoting the option there and getting people to, do their meme magic for you and everything. And see, my prediction is if the MAGA boys did that they would tap into one of the most powerful communities in crypto. Like I think PulseChain is number 3 in community, probably next to Bitcoin and Ethereum, and nobody's heard of us. And so, then further down the line, once you see the social proof of what we've got going on, then the natural question for most people to ask is, well, how was that achieved? What is it that makes the PulseChain community so special? And that's when I explain what is HEX, is because all these long-term thinking people got together and they all motivated themselves to be involved long-term. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, one thing I'd say to you that I react pretty strongly to. I mean, you say that nobody's heard of us. I think plenty of people have heard of PulseChain, but more people can hear about it for sure.
I go to conferences and people haven't heard. They haven't heard.
I'm sure you've seen that. I'm sure, but it's not. I just think that we're a lot further ahead than nobody's heard from us.
I'd agree with you. I really, there's so many projects, and so many tokens and so many, layer 2s. And so you have a lot to choose from. But I had heard of Pulse quite a bit. I just never got around to checking it out yet. Obviously now I will be a lot more because we met Maddie and he's so passionate about it. I got my coin that he gave me to my
Oh
cold
yeah.
wallet. And that's pretty
Yep.
cool. I can't wait to use that. But I've been so, busy with the election, with the ground campaign, that I just haven't had any time to do it. But I definitely planning on diving into PulseChain and HEX and the whole ecosystem. And I definitely feel like if the community's right for us and has the same kind of not necessarily the same kind of spirit about what you're building, and that we all have freedom to build what we want and express our views, and then that might be our real home, because Ethereum's just the big chain, right? Not saying you get what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
okay, you launch on Ethereum, but then where are you gonna actually align, right, with
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I think, what
Community.
group?
We need
Yeah.
community. We have a way stronger community. Like
Hmm.
we have more influencers than Ethereum. Like name me one influencer for Polygon, right? Or the
Yeah.
tons, like any of the ones that
Well,
were
Yeah.
slightly behind. Like
Yeah.
like we would destroy them in terms of influencer count, community count, and actual people that you can name, whether they're influencers or not. Like I
Yeah.
could spool off 200 people who like are regular contributors in various communities that aren't necessarily influencers. They're just guys
Oh,
who are.
North Carolina went to Trump. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. North Carolina went to Trump
Yeah.
on one map. Let me see. Let me refresh the one. But sorry, continue. I apologize. That's thought you'd like to know that. Sorry.
No, we
Yeah.
do. That's why we got the map up here. Yeah.
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 Hey, I'm gonna jump. I want to jump on what Fast was saying, also with what Maddie says. Yeah, so I guess we'll call you cryptographer rather
Crypt-
than just
Christopher Pratt. Yeah, like Christopher Pratt. There was a period uh in 2021 where everybody was making their usernames kind of around certain celebrities,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
when I came up with it. Just kind of stuck with it.
All
So
right, so you
anyway,
you didn't really mean that you were an a-hole. Okay, got it.
no.
Yeah, it's just, right, because Pratt. Never mind. Hey, yeah, but you see all these people up here on the screen. What's crazy is we're just one little group of people that are on this screen right now. The three of
Yeah.
us. We can name. We probably could put a list between us of 1,000 people.
Sure.
Screen names that we know in the community. And so it's very interesting, this whole Hex thing, and now PulseChain, because it's a big little community, right? In
Yeah.
that we're like grassroots started. It's not like when I got my ADA. I know the Cardano guy because I see him on streams, right? And I know a few other people. The other people I know are all within this ecosystem. Same thing with it went on Ethereum and Bitcoin. I didn't know anybody. I mean, I was watching influencers. That's it.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is a
Very
way
true.
this is a way different thing. And we got
Well,
plenty of we
community.
got plenty of diversity. Yeah.
Yeah, so they say in crypto communities the most important thing. It's you hear it. It's kind of like a trope at this point, and it seems you guys just have just a rock star community, right? And so that's the most important thing in crypto, is to know who your allies are, the people that aren't going to take advantage of you, and that's hard to find on the other chains. So I'm definitely interested to because that's kind of the spirit of what we're doing. A lot of people we talk to in the space when we're launching or thinking about launching the token, is we got to know that a lot of people just were expecting things to be like a pump and dump. We're like, no, we're actually building
Yeah.
something real long term. So I felt like that mindset's lacking, surprisingly, in Ethereum in general. So a chain that doesn't operate like that would be ideal for what we're doing.
Yeah,
So
well, dude,
very
now
excited.
the laws of natural consequences, right? I mean,
Yep.
if you're in so I don't want to pick on Ethereum because it's not really like an anti-Ethereum discussion. It's just that,
Yeah.
hey, listen, if every project is designed so that the sooner you hear about it, the earlier you get in, the faster you can sell, then that's how it's going to be. Right.
Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
not like that doesn't exist on PulseChain. It absolutely does exist on PulseChain. It's just, instead of it being 90% of what's going on, I don't know, pick a number, 40%.
Yeah.
Or 30% or 50%. And plus we have a much different kind of guiding central set of ethics.
our
Mhm.
principles are way different than the other chains. Crypto for Pratt. You could probably have your cake and eat it too with the Pulse chain. Like if you're on Ethereum right now, you can bridge tokens to the Pulse chain, and your same tokens could live on the Pulse chain and be sent back to Ethereum at any time. And so
Really?
you could have like farming opportunities and stuff like that. I know a guy I could hook you up for your token on the Pulse
He's
chain.
talking about himself.
I'm the guy. Yeah. Without actually having to launch a new token. So therefore
Okay.
not diluting your community, just bring some of it over to the Pulse chain. You can even pair it up with Ethereum on the Pulse chain if you want to keep status quo, right? You don't have to pair it with Pulse chain assets. You could pair it with Ethereum assets. And then instead of like, when Ethereum is at $7,000, instead of paying 50 or $100 a transaction, your people can pay 10 or 20 cents a transaction.
Yeah.
And 20 cents would be if Pulse chain went up a lot. So, but you maintain.
Well, that's what we wanted, and that's why we were tossing around Solana. I mean, a lot of the volume went to Solana for the meme coins, and that looked kind of attractive to get more eyes on us. But Ethereum, we felt because we're long term, we have some tax on the token and to help build the ecosystem out, and so Ethereum was the place. But the whole time we're talking about we want to have low transaction fees because we'd be basically rewarding people, so they might just get a little bit. We don't want them to have to pay a large gas fee when they're trying to take out like $50.
Yeah, dude, that's where PulseChain would be a great option.
Yeah, so I'm definitely very excited to talk with you guys a lot more about it. Maddie, I told him as soon as the election was done, we're going to dive into it. So that's my plan here. I want to know everything about it. So
right on. I'm willing to consult, sir.
all right. Well, we would love to have that.
And do we know off the top of our heads like how tax tokens from Ethereum, do those operate? Like, how does that work out when they've been bridged?
Well, we can
to
adjust
PulseChain?
it. Now we can adjust it. Once we get to a certain point, and it could be that okay, we plan for the cross chain type of launch to happen at a point later when we've gotten enough kind of tax to build the ecosystem. If so, we'll figure it. Like, if is there a way? I guess that's a good question you were asking, Maddie. But I'm saying, if Pulse Chain is good enough, as far as like, if we feel like we can build a community there, and it sounds like it is, then that might be worth a lot more than the tax, because we'll have more people that are involved in helping. As opposed to really having to focus on building the platform quite the same on Ethereum, where that's your sole focus. If you have a community of people, everybody can kind of help direct and to give it a better idea of where it could go in a fairer way. Then that's what the blockchain allows, as well as that decentralization of ideas. And that's what these communities do in crypto. So for you guys having such a great community, we could lower the taxes to zero if we have to. Is the point I'm trying to make to make that happen? We left it adjustable for a reason.
Sure.
Yeah,
but like if instead of tax you were making yield, that's the scenario you could be looking at, because there'd still be fees from trading, and those fees can be collected by the community. And if there's a yield farm scenario, then the community can collect that. And obviously, if the founders and the team are participating in providing liquidity, which seems likely, then you can raise funds in that way instead of the other. Instead of taxing, you can get this yield and from participating in the liquidity yourselves. So there's definitely some game there. But there's a scenario where if you bridge the Pulse chain, it wouldn't work as a tax token on the Pulse chain, but there would be an arbitrage point where people could come to Pulse chain, buy it, bridge it back to Ethereum to arbitrage it if the price was lower or higher one place or another. And anytime it was sold on Ethereum, you'd still get your tax. So it'd be like there was a tax loophole, but in the end, the tax would still happen because the only place to arbitrage in the end would likely be on Ethereum.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That actually happened in the early days of Bitcoin. Come to think of it, that's how Arthur Hayes got into Bitcoin and created a $1 billion empire. I heard him talk about it on a podcast.
Wow.
So
yeah, and it's still
very
happening
cool.
with arbitrage every day on all kinds of things with the cross chain swapping, right? Like right now, the price of Bitcoin on PulseChain is different than the price of Ethereum. They're both over the all-time high, by the way, which is cool. Very cool.
Hey.
Today's the day.
Very cool. And then, we got Tripod also dropping in a major talking point here. Ross Ulbricht's life outlook may change tonight. What a great point. If Trump gets elected, he has said that he will commute the life sentence of Ross Ulbricht, creator of
Day one. Yep.
the Silk Road. And I had brunch with Ross's mom at one of the Bitcoin conferences about 2.5 years ago now. I got connected with Gary, Funding Jim, and some other people. I think Timothy Benjamin was one that hooked me up with that opportunity. And so, yeah, shout out to Ross Ulbricht's, sentence being commuted by Trump once he wins tonight. Sean, what's our latest update on the election, on how things are shaking out?
So, let me see. Keep getting so caught up in our conversation. Okay, so
Appreciate it.
sorry, I'm a little slow here. So now they're saying 276 Trump. That's what I see here. So that went down a little bit. Yeah. Wait
tighter.
a second. Hold on. Nope. Wait a sec. 296 Trump. Sorry, it went up. I didn't refresh in time. So it actually got better in his favor. Yeah. Yeah.
That might be called tonight then, eh? If they hit something like that, it would be a huge margin.
It says 82% chance of victory for Trump right now.
Oh.
All right.
That explains Bitcoin all-time high, I think.
Yeah. That's
what I noticed. That's why I had a good feeling. It was already starting to move, but I had a feeling that Bitcoin was gonna really start making some moves because I think they were tracking the election just like me at the time and seeing the kind of the momentum and where it's got. Look, we won Miami-Dade County, which is amazing. Now I thought we won that in 2020. It might have been 22, but Miami-Dade was big time in Trump's corner. I think that's a metro area. How many metro areas in our country go red? I think that's kind of an indicator of things to come. I think there's a lot more shift than people realize.
Yeah, that's a huge big deal.
Yeah.
That's the case. I don't know anybody from Iowa. Never been there. I get it. That's one of the states I never went to, but I do see it's trending red now.
Yeah, it's always been red, but they reported something the other day about it being 3 points in Kamala's favor, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's got to be an anomaly," but some people were saying, "Oh, she's a really honest pollster." I believe it was a female pollster who has a pretty good track record, and so everybody's like worried. Like, if Iowa goes blue, then that means Trump's going to lose everything. Is basically the sentiment, I think.
Well,
but
right
it says
now,
very likely are. Yeah, New York Times has it is very likely ours. So I think that was probably a suppression poll.
Yeah, it's like
all the dirty tricks.
Exactly. It's like an 8 to 10 point difference right now.
Yeah. Yes, it's 3 points in her favor. I couldn't help but to laugh, but then you got to take some things. What you just kind of don't know what to dismiss. Especially if something as crazy as that comes out, like that would be devastating. So thank God that's not the case. Oh, they just called Iowa for him too. At least Charlie Kirk did.
All right.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
It's going.
I think they're a little faster, but it's like pegged on the New York Times. They have like it's like a a needle, and it's completely pegged in concert for red. So I'm pretty sure that's a pretty good indicator where it's going.
Yeah, hey, listen, for the Republican Party and for Trump, this is great that she remained on the ballot. But a lot of people said to me, why did they choose her, right? And again, I go back to power and money, right? If you were,
Yeah.
if you're backing Biden way in the beginning before maybe he lost his marbles or whatever, um, that's your power base,
Yeah.
and so then you're faced with a choice: bring some other people in, do the right thing for the party, and bring some other people in and get behind them and support them, or try to maintain your power. They tried to maintain the power. They won. Obviously, somehow they figured out how to make Kamala the candidate, and now
Yeah.
this is the outcome. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
there's
she'll do anything they want her to, and that's the problem with her. With her parents having been Marxists, professors. She comes from a lineage of that, and she literally. When they say Trump lies, the thing you hear with if Trump lies, it's like usually exaggerations. Like I had 1 million people
politics.
at my rally. No, it was like 50,000, but it was still a lot, so that's a win, right? But
Yeah,
with
yeah.
her, it's outright lies. Like you're stupid, kind of lying to our faces, gaslighting us, and that's because she will do whatever they tell her to do at any time, and she's a completely empty vessel, and that's what scares me about her.
Yeah, I do kind of, not because I support her, but I do kind of think it's too bad. It's kind of like a missed opportunity for more historic stuff to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen,
Well,
we've
look at
never had.
RFK. RFK could have been their candidate. Do you think that, honestly, that would have been the race of the century, if you think about it? RFK versus Trump. But now they're on the same team, and they lost him in favor of her. I
Yeah.
think that's going to stand in history as one of the biggest blunders they've ever made. They could have probably handily won with RFK. Maybe not handily, but it definitely would have been like we're better for either one, right? If either one of them, if that was the election, I feel like we could be like, okay, we're gonna be on, like things are gonna be better either way.
hmm
You see what I'm saying? And they missed that opportunity. I think you're very right there. In 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 exchange for they just want power because they have an agenda, and that's the scary thing.
Well, yeah, and that's not to say the whole party feels that way. I'm just saying
No, absolutely not. It's just
the people who control the thing, because there's a lot of stuff. We have a lot of members in the community that obviously you wouldn't be obvious to you, but we got a lot of people that are in California. They see the stuff up front. They see
yeah,
what they see. I mean, regardless of whether it goes blue or red, doesn't matter. I mean, there was a time where I could walk around San Francisco. I can't do that now.
yeah,
I mean, well, at least not without watching where I'm stepping. And
yeah,
then, there's like some weird stuff like that. I mean, who would be proud of this, right? And I know people aren't proud of it, and I realize that it's a complicated subject.
yeah,
But we've got people out there. We've got people in Texas. We've got people in Arizona. I've been to Arizona, and you're walking down the streets, and you see the paths, right? I mean, where people are walking nightly,
yeah,
into the country. It's just crazy talk, and
yeah.
it's not actually. I actually believe immigration's the best thing for this country. But
Absolutely, and that's I feel like at least me, I believe a lot of Trump supporters are miscategorized as we're against immigration, and that's absolutely not the truth. It's just people to we need to revamp our pathways, right? We need to make our immigration system better and more streamlined, and so we're letting people in that are going to be a positive net effect on our country, as opposed to just saying, here, come through here and we'll just figure it out once you're in here. And then you have a whole bunch of bad actors that you didn't need to let in the first place,
yeah,
right?
100%.
And that's my issue with it, and I think that's where most people, when it comes down to, is the issue. It's more that than anything. And of course, we need to make sure that we have the jobs to kind of support that too, as much as possible, right? So I think there's a lot of things that need to be put in place, but we could have a really good immigration system and let a lot of people in an orderly kind of fashion, and we need that. Like we need to have people that are vetted, that we know who they are and where they came from, and that they're not gonna be against the country, and they'll assimilate and try to like become part of our country, as opposed to building, trying to build little, you know, kind of, like in Europe, they have some areas where it's completely ruled by, for instance, like Sharia law and things like that, and we need. I think our country just needs to bring people in as much as possible, but also just make sure that they're going to be American. It doesn't mean get rid of your culture. It just means like, hey, like you're a part of us now, and we all got to kind of work together. And that's the kind of people we want. And we don't get that if we just let everybody across the border. We want team players.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, that's what our whole country's about, is everybody working together for a common good. That's why I'm so passionate about, where I sit politically, is because I feel like, as a child, I was made to believe our country was X, Y, and Z, and we had all these opportunities, uh and then come to find out as an adult that that's being kind of systematically stripped away little by little, the tax basis that we're under and stuff like that. It's just it doesn't make any sense. So, but
Yep.
it's yeah. So I'm just really passionate about this. Sometimes I get lost in my thoughts with it,
Yeah.
But I'm just like, this is everything, because I feel like we need to like just bring things back to like a a common decent ground where everybody can talk to each other. And if we don't kind of stem the tide of some of these things that are making the like pulling the country too far in one direction, then nobody's going to come to the table. It's just going to be fighting. Like, we need to kind of equalize things and like calm things down for a second. And they're like, okay, where do we go from here? Because we're like not going the right direction, right? And that's what we need from everything, including the immigration. We need people that are going to come here and help us fix our problems too. It's a big experiment. We all work together.
It's okay to put qualifiers on immigration, right? Like, to say which people can come to your country for which reasons. There's
Yeah.
nothing particularly wrong with that, as long as it's not like specifically race or culture based. To set, like, if you have economic immigrants, then you can say we want economic immigrants that bring more money to the system, not less money. Like,
Yes.
that's fine. There should be a compassion element as well, perhaps. And
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's maybe not, the viewpoint of the world is not that the Republican Party is as big on that, but the reality may be different. You can tell me.
No, I think the reality is very different than that. Uh, they, everyone I know that I've spoken to, believes that, knows we're a nation of immigrants. It's not about keeping the country pure or anything like that. Like, it's not. It's the party of all the people, and American citizens first. But there's often a lot of times we can allow many immigrants through that will be good for them and for us, and I think that's important, that that's the situation that we get into when we let people in the country. It's kind of like, if you let somebody into your house and then they're just kind of eating all your food, and they're, you're spending money on them, you don't want them to stay in your house too long, right? I think on a macro scale, there's, if there's a compassionate element, right? If obviously, if people are maybe in a situation where they, maybe disabled, things like that, that they'd be great citizens, but they can't contribute much, that's still something that, that's okay, I think. And that's how I feel that most people around me feel, that we want people to come in and just be a net positive on society in some way in our country. And that's I think that would be our number one. That would be, if I had to say, okay, You don't come here and utilize our welfare system. Don't, we need you to kind of come here and try to become part of our society. We're giving you the
Yeah,
chance, and
I
we'll
think
help you,
that's
and we'll help you where we can, but like we can't help you at the
yeah.
expense of our own citizens.
Yeah, I think actually, I know, depending who's listening to this, right, that may not sound reasonable, but I think that's reasonable, right? In my viewpoint, right, it's reasonable that you would like to maintain, a portion of your culture. But of course, our culture changes, and
Yeah.
it changes quite a bit, dude. I mean, I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
I don't know how old you are, but I know how old I am, and people here laugh, particularly ones on the West Coast. But there was a time tacos weren't a thing, and that's not meant to be a racial slur, by the way. I'm talking about the food stuff, and sure, there's always been. I use cuisine because I'm a fat guy, but you know the idea that today it's not a big deal for me to go down the street and get Indian food or go
Oh
get Vietnamese
yeah.
or go get Thai. That is not how I grew up. So things change for
Yeah.
sure, and they get integrated. Just like it was not normal, when my ancestors, because that's the right way to say that, right? Came from Germany. I mean, I'm an immigrant, product immigrant too, right?
Yep.
Irish,
Mhm.
German, English, Polish. I mean, you can't mix it up, any more than that. I mean, without dilution. But it's just crazy. So yeah, I'm right there with you with what you're saying. So yeah, I kind of kicked that whole thing off with, yeah, I once wrote a paper just on this subject that we do need that we do need immigration, but
Yeah,
it
we
needs to make
do.
sense. But it's got to make
Yeah.
sense for the country. Like we would never, you would never, and this is what's kind of interesting about this, right? You could look at another country somewhere, and you were to be evaluating their process, you'd be like, yeah, this makes sense, right? It makes sense that they want to have some amount of control, not draconian, not not something super hurtful to people. But there are always hard decisions that have to be made, and that's the tough part, right?
Yeah.
Because the border just can't be open. It's not good for our security, right? For
Well,
sure.
also there's the political element too. If you got to factor in, there's games being played with it because the Democrats, what they do is they push these open border type of things, or let it get to a situation where um you have all there's all these immigrants, and we have to give them a pathway to citizenship, but they came here illegally. But then what ends up happening is, oh, we gave you the pathway to citizenship, so you'll probably vote for us. And it's kind of like imported voters, um, eh, and that's the problem, because then they're used as political pawns, and it's not really about them. So it's more about staying in power, and so that's the other factor of it. And this is something that goes way back to the 30s. If you're familiar with Gramsci and the Frankfurt School and things like that, it's basically been a plan to undermine us for about 100 years. You know, and so that's the other scary part of this, because we oftentimes will argue, "Hey, I'm a one issue voter. It's about abortion. Or I'm a one issue voter. It's about this or that," which completely ignores the underlying fact that we're being literally taken over by a neo-Marxist technique called the Long March through institutions. So all of our institutions are kind of ran by people of this school of thought, and it's pervasive, at least in my opinion. And so that's the thing that scares me about this. This is why I believe they tried to kill Trump. I believe that they've been so against him because they've been so close to their final kind of action, if you will. And I don't think people see it yet. And maybe I seem a little bit, alarmist there, but that's part of why I'm in the fight too, where we feel like this is not just a culture war. It's really not a culture war. It's a fake culture war.
Yeah, I could understand that conclusion. Yeah. Or
You
how, at
know.
least at least the logic how you got there, for
Yeah,
sure.
well, so I mean, they came here from Germany. I think they were ideologically competing with Hitler. They came to Santa Monica, and they started this. They had this thing called critical theory in Europe, right? So critical theory was they had come out of the Dark Ages, a couple, World War and things like that, and so they could buy into the idea that they had the plague, that, oh, everything's bad, we need to kind of start over, right? And so that's what they did that in Europe. They left Europe, they came to the US, and they realized they couldn't actually do that here, because we have this collective feeling here in the US of, it's not perfect, but we're all working together. So nobody thought it was awful. So then they started attacking the Achilles heel of the US, because we are such immigration based, and we are people that actually really do care about each other regardless of your race, that being called racist is like the worst thing possible, right? So they've kind of weaponized that, and it's sad to see, because I remember in the 90s, I remember it just being something that we all joked with each other about, different things. It wasn't a thing that was that was kind of uh cradled the way it is now, and I think some of that is needed, but also it's been kind of weaponized, because when I look back at the history of it, it's a tool. And it's sad to see that, because we could all be getting along much better if we weren't being manipulated, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course, I come from, I give it the air quotes. I come from the background where I fit the mold of the entitled person, and I have not walked in everybody's shoes, so I don't understand everything the way they do. But I do recognize this is like super complex.
Oh yeah.
It's not simple. But what isn't complex? What isn't complex is that most people, except for the people that really on some sort of whacked out fringe, what they're concerned with is their family.
Yep.
They're concerned with their friends. They're worried about just living life. Never mind all these like hundreds of geopolitical, tangents you can go down, you know. And and I think I think if most people just remember that, because even in the US, with all the mix of people that we have, I mean, most people are pretty close in that, yeah, yeah, you believe that certain things are good, certain things are bad. You don't want to hurt other people. You want to live your life. Sure, there's psycho people and all around, and sociopaths, but those are fringe. And most of us all would agree, all could stay in the same room, but that doesn't necessarily mean we agree on everything, right?
Yeah.
You know, for people who've done the work and have talked with, I don't know, and everybody here has probably done personalities type studies and whatnot. But when you go through something like a Myers Briggs or one of these other things where they basically, you go through this questionnaire to try to determine, what kind of quadrant you fall into. One of the most interesting things about that is when you pose a question to a group of people, right? You have like five different answers on how to solve the problem, and they don't agree. And so then you have to figure out, how do you move forward from that in a positive way, right? Not a negative, like it's not like, well, I'm taking my toys and I'm leaving, right? It's more like, well, because how do you figure this out? How do you see the other person's view, you know? And how do you make it work? And anyways, that's kind of how I feel about it too, myself, is that yeah, you just working together. I mean, sometimes I guess it always doesn't work out, but
Yeah. Well, I still believe we can work together, I think, but part of my support for Trump is that he's gonna knock, so, presumably based on what we believe we know, is going to be, is that he's gonna expose the people that, which he's already done, is that are stopping us from actually being a united country, and being, the agendas and the nasty tricks they've pulled, the wrap up smears, and the uh the dossier, and all this stuff they've done to Trump. uh you know in the end, um we we need to come back to being civil with each other, and that may just have to be that we got to get rid of those people, the government, what is it, Doge, the Doge, that Elon Musk wants to put in the government efficiency office.
Yeah.
And he's just going to get rid of a lot of those bureaucrats that are causing problems, you know. And also, if you guys are familiar with the Brunson, I believe it was the Brunson case, and that now they can't, or no, oh, sorry, it was the what's it called? Uh, Chevron deference, right? And now, so those regulations are losing their teeth. Like these things all had to happen. I think we'll come back to the point of being able to work together because we're going to put the pause button on kind of everything. You know, that's you say that's conservatives, right? Want to conserve things. Like it's, I think it's more about like we just want things to be kind of operated in a common sense manner. Like we're okay with a little more freedom type, you know, like a little more things that are outside the box of, you know, traditional thinking, but it's we want to do it in a logical manner, you know. And I feel like that's we like as a country we just kind of hit the pause button and kind of start talking to each other and figure out what direction do we go from here, because this is kind of a quagmire, you know. It's a mess right now, complete mess. It's gotten out of control. So like we need to kind of just, you know, it's like halt it for a minute and just kind of figure it out and then make a plan for action after that point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All of a sudden, you're going to start talking like Ross Perot, man. First, you got to identify the problem. And then you got to come up with. Then you get your team together. You come up with a way to fix it. He didn't get any votes, man. and that was you know that he was probably the most forward thinking candidate outspoken at the time. It was so great, man. But it was like exactly what you need to do, but can't say out loud, right? In politics, but you know, like you get because any one of us can't come up with the right decision. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is not groupthink, but diverse opinions and input. You know that's considerate, right? Yields much better results because most of us are kind of blind, right? To things like I have my I have my family of origin story just like you do, right? You've seen what you've seen, you've done what you've done, and you formed your belief system around it. And so is everybody else.
Yeah.
Don't matter what politics are. I mean, that's what you've seen.
Yeah.
And so then the question is, you had to understand that people are different. How do you work together? You know?
Yeah.
And how does it come together? And there's some grievous shit that has to be addressed.
Well,
You know?
I think one of the biggest things for me too is how systematically the Democrats have have created this they kind of created their user, like their voter base. I mean, obviously, right? So they've been working at this for a long time. And a lot of the base oh, I kind of lost my train of where I was going with that. Sorry.
No.
So
Well,
So
I'll kind of refresh you. Go ahead, Matt.
yeah.
Bitcoin hit 80,000.
I'm just noticing. Oh, is it? I'm just noticing
No, I'm
that
joking.
that Elon has called it that Trump has won. Polymarket seems to have called it with 90%. So
Yeah.
good news,
Yeah,
guys.
New York Times has 80 let me refresh before I say this again.
Bitcoin is for sure.
So they're 298 for Trump, 87% chance of victory for Trump.
Wow,
Oh yeah,
Pennsylvania.
so I realized what I was saying before was so they've kind of they've created their voter pools by taking control of, you know, academia and government and stuff like that, and they've systematically created like by force almost this system of just they just pay people to live the lowest means possible so that they can control them. And it's sad to see, and they tell them, hey, we're going to do all these great things for you, but it's the you know, it's the gift in disguise. It's not really a gift, right? And I think when we really come together is when people realize that they've been duped it's not just the Democrats. It's really two wings of the same bird, in my opinion. I feel like the followers of Trump kind of realize that it's like there's a lot of people that cross it's not everyone, but there's a lot that cross that,
Yeah.
you know, it's a big circle. And so
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this, particularly people listening to this stream, because we got different people, man. I know people in our community.
Oh, am I getting too extreme? I'm sorry if I get too extreme.
No, you're not being extreme. What I'd say is this: I'm just outlining my point. Is that when I think about what you're saying, I'm thinking about the people in charge. I'm not thinking about all Democrats.
Oh yeah, no,
You know,
that's the case. Yeah. Oh,
and
I guess I should clarify that. Yeah, that's what I mean because they've infected all the institutions as far as like the people, the movers, the doers, right? The ones that have the agenda and they're doing their thing, and then everyone else is just kind of believing their BS, right? But the same thing I think with the Republicans as they were, it was just kind of a lot of we're going to help you, but it's just a big round robin, a circle. So I think
yeah,
when everybody
same
realizes
thing.
they've been duped and we could all be like, okay, we've all been kind of tricked in some way. Can we just come together and we'll
Yeah.
just work it out
Yeah.
together?
Well,
You know?
the problem is they've been duped on a longer time frame.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't come up. It doesn't come up as quickly because yeah, outside of politics, I think people would agree. Well, most people listening to this anyways would agree because they're in crypto. They'd be like, yeah, man, basically everybody, including the immigrants, are just wage slaves at different classes. And it's crazy to say that because a lot of I know people making 20 grand a year, and I know people making over $1 million a year, and they're almost all of them are they would describe having the same challenges, even though
Yeah.
materially they have other stuff. Obviously, if you have that wherewithal, because the rat race is real, as well as being
Yeah.
on that treadmill. Because once you're in a spot, it doesn't matter how you end up there, but you got to run to keep up.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about, that's what I'm thinking too, is when people come in, particularly from as immigrants and illegal immigrants, my heart does go out to them because it sucks, man. I mean, it might be a lot better than where they were, for sure, right? I mean, that's why they made the move in the first place. But it really does suck to be stuck into an underclass that's very hard to escape.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
share
absolutely.
the screen here. This just got published a minute or two ago on Polymarket. There's now a 91% chance Kamala concedes by Friday, and I posted underneath there this live stream that we're doing right now to try to get more views and get more people to check out crypto. So I said, we're covering this live, and look at that, we are.
Yeah,
there
this
you
is
have it,
exciting.
folks.
91%, right? Jeez.
Yeah. And now,
Yeah, it
how
looks
much money has been wagered on that? It's not immediately clear, but yeah, the Polymarket doesn't go around bragging for no reason. Like they like getting stuff right. So
looks like Pennsylvania's trending. That flipped a little bit too, didn't it? That's good, I guess.
wow, and
Well,
that's
good for Trump.
The MAGA boys have been particularly active, boots on the ground in Pennsylvania. Isn't that right? You get?
Oh
Isn't that
yeah,
right?
actually, yeah, Maddie, we've been to quite a few of the rallies. We've registered a lot of voters there. I'll tell you though, the kings of voter registration, we've been spending a lot of time with Scott Pressler and Noah Formica. And man, those guys are American heroes, man. They 24/7, it seems like they never sleep. They've been such a huge effort there, and we were happy just to help any way we could. But we have a lot of canvassers there. We actually, I'm in the political sphere, and I have a small subcontracting kind of contracting firm, and what I do is I find people to knock doors, and I manage them in the precincts, and we have an app, and it's a big thing. So we've been spending a lot of time on the ground in Pennsylvania. That was pretty much our focus here. Just
Well,
knocking
thank you
doors.
guys for what you're doing there, and as you said, you guys are working closely with Scott Pressler, who I got to meet through you guys, and for people outside for people who are in crypto, we think of like the biggest people in Twitter, crypto Twitter. They might get 5,000 likes on something, or 1,000 likes on something is like maximum that people get. But this person that you introduced me to, who just rocks, I really enjoyed getting to know him a little bit. And Scott Pressler, his tweets get like 30,000 likes or 50,000 likes of real people who are really it's not bots. This is a bigger pond. The world of politics than crypto. And I think that someday that might change. And certainly I hope that all of this continues to come together.
Well, that's what we're trying to do, Maddie. I apologize. I have to jump off here in a minute because I have to pick
Sure.
up my father at the airport. But
yeah,
that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring more of that political money into the blockchain because we think it's better spent there, and we can be more targeted. We can be more precise with our campaigning with the blockchain. So, also blockchain voting. There's so many things to explore there, and we want to. That's what we're doing. That's what the MAGA Boys is about, and what the MAGA Meme Pack's about. So,
well, I dig it, and I hope to do a special episode with you guys here in the coming next 2 or 3 days. And really excited to have had you on the show tonight. Thank you so much for coming on and helping us.
Thank you for having me, Maddie.
People can follow you guys on x.com/the-MAGA BOYZ, the MAGA Boys on Twitter. Go follow them now. And thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thanks. Good to meet you.
You too. Yeah, good to see you, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I know he's gonna go take care of his dad and everything. So yeah, thanks for being on. And all right, so now it's just us three. And my battery is about to die. I have 7% juice left. So and look, we're at our magical cutoff time of 2 hours and 20 minutes exactly. We have right now 620 people watching live. We typically have a couple thousand on the replay, but since this is such an interesting episode, I bet we'll get a little bit more than that even. And of course, crypto is just going nuts right now. New all-time high in Bitcoin and everything. So
I like the Doge, man. Up 25%, baby.
Yeah, the Department of being number 7 on the coin ranking website. So if you're watching now on replay or live, hit the like, subscribe button, share this out. All the speakers follow in the description below. Show up for everybody and we'll show up for you. That being said, where can people find you, ChrispyMan?
You just find me on hexfire.io. We're over here on the X. Actually on X is hexfire.io. We're here on YouTube's hexfire.io.
Awesome.
Woo!
And Fast Abdul, how about you?
You can find me at 2phux.io. I got links to my Telegram, etc. there, as seen on the screen. And I just wanted to drop a quick note that I'm going to start doing some consulting soon. It will be a free service. I will charge absolutely no one, except for I only want to consult with whales who are interested in liquidity farming. So if you're moving around 50K plus on any chain, or you're thinking about it, you want to get into crypto and you're interested in the concept of liquidity farming, I will consult with you for free. No charge, not financial advice.
Very cool.
That's nice of you to do that. I get that it's part of your business model, and that's good because I do think people need that help. And, I just want to leave it. I'll leave it right there because Maddie's trying to close this. But yeah.
Well, and we've got my physical crypto products that I've onboarded, Jordan Peterson and Hawk2a, and near miss with Elon Musk. SolidUsKey.com.
I can't even believe you could say that with a straight face. Oh man.
What do you mean?
So close.
Oh, Hawk2a. I got it. Okay, Fine.
Yeah.
Hey, Haley Welsh, she's rebranded herself. She's one of what, 100 people Elon Musk follows or something. So yeah, we're gonna keep going there, time and time again. Find all my links at mati.pls.fyi. Make sure to follow me on x.com as well. MATI all in on everything. Let's see. So will continue reporting live, this week from New York. I still haven't been able to leave this great state where, we're getting the word out about Hex and PulseChain. So with that being said, let me load up the thumbnail here.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to let everybody know. Back in 1800, Jefferson won. Just want you guys to know he won.
Are you sure? It could turn the other direction.
Yeah. Somebody might know this. I think Adams actually served in his cabinet or something like that in the government at the same time. Right, that was a thing too.
Right.
On your map there, they're mostly gray. It looks undecided to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so much potential there in these United States. And so until next time, stay wisely, my friends, and peace out.
Stay crispy.
Hex for America.
America for Hex. How about
And
that?
PulseChain.
Such a big opportunity, man. My opinion. Big.